So you're bummed out on life. You're tired, you're exhausted. You feel as though you have hit the most depressing streak of days. Everything that should work seems not to work at a time where you feel perhaps that you deserve a break. It might be that you are conflicted because your faith, your hope versus your outcomes expectations don't align, and you're tired and you're worn out, and perhaps you feel down, perhaps you feel sad, perhaps you feel gloomy, perhaps you feel just done. It's hard to imagine that with all that faith you have managed to, instead of conjure a mountain, only be able to have a sense of loss. So, this episode, I really want to talk to someone about this one thing, which is understanding that you are not just your results, but also your process. And I will break it down. So, a couple of days ago, I recorded this and lost the episode, but now I'm re-recording it, totally unscripted. But I have to do this because what else will I be doing? This is Salim Mohammed Tarfa, the Fizikage, back again on the Fizi Speaks podcast with this episode. Now, I had this conversation with someone some time back, and this particular comment was made, and it made me run into thinking how much it could affect a lot of us. Now, she said something. She said, "Oh, you've changed this, or you've changed that. Didn't you change this before? Didn't you do that before?" You know, and it kind of brought me to a place of understanding how many of us are affected by the same thing. So your life is usually measured by, a lot of us measure our lives by the amount of ups we have, the amount of downs we have. When I say ups, I mean your wins, your celebrations, your birthdays, your child baby dedications, or your weddings, or number of happy relationships you have. You are basically we are counting our days according to how many outcomes we are able to generate. And while this is one kind of metric, I think it is perhaps incomplete. Find yourself in knowing that your definition, your life's value, your life's worth, your life's everything isn't only in your highs and lows. It's easy because, okay, for example, I had a conversation with someone who is married, still married, and she's had a lot of regret for herself, for her marriage, because she felt a lot of what she sees as herself now is not what she used to be. I mean, she isn't where she used to be. She isn't how she used to be. A lot of things had changed, and that change had left her feeling like she got the lower end of the stick. Now, while I'm not saying that you should settle even in your marriages, or in your life generally, um, it is also very possible that you're looking at certain things on a value scale, like, okay, this went up +1 +2, this went down -5. Oh, that's not good. But not seeing that it is in fact a journey, it is in fact a process. And for people who get shamed for trying things, for making new things, or or perhaps shame themselves for having the kind of past they have. You made a mistake a couple of years ago. You lost money. You made a choice. You made a choice, and you feel like you wasted your life waiting for something that didn't come, or holding on to perhaps a relationship that didn't blossom into something more, or the expectation of a relationship that didn't come. You held on to the expectation of maybe a job outcome, maybe a promotion, maybe you stuck for too long in a place that didn't allow you to grow, or where you were not growing. And you begin to feel like your life is a totally weird script, um, where you have that be the prevailing factor. In a nutshell, what I was able to get from this and this conversation was, when I asked her about other things in this particular um, balance, in this particular story, what I got was that there were things that indeed did get better. There were things that were still a work in progress, but she was frustrated with the right now, with the low lows. And I think ultimately what I'm trying to say to someone is, when you hear that voice that is either coming from within you or outside of you that says, oh, you changed careers, oh, you changed, you have a new relationship, oh, you messed up the last time, what makes you think you're going to get it right now? You have to always remember that your process means that on that plane, on that XY axis, on that journey of life where there's going to be ups and downs, the most important thing is that you keep going. Don't beat yourself up about the relationship that didn't work out because of how long you stayed in that toxic space, because of how long you kept using negative self-talk on yourself, because of how long you spent trying to rationalize yourself, um, being in a Stockholm syndrome kind of position where you are in an abusive space, whether with yourself or with the world around you, and you've been unable to remove yourself from that space because it has become your new normal. Maybe it's the fact that you've allowed the notions that have been painted around you to settle into you and become your new normal. Maybe it's because you've allowed yourself to come to a point where defeat is the new normal. If you are this person finding difficulty in establishing sanity, let's say, this is a call to action, this is a call to order, this is a appeal to your senses. You are not just your results, you are your process. How did you get there? What did you learn from this? How did you evolve? How did you improve? What has changed? What's different? Because you can do the same activities day in, day out and yield different results. Or you can do the same activities and improve your process. You might have something that is good, but you can make it better. You might have something that has worked for you in the past and improve on it. There is always more to learn. Part of this message is to just appeal to you to be kinder to yourself in your process. I know a young mother, she was having a bit of anxiety about, oh, I'm going to be a mom. I don't know if I can do this. I'm not sure if I'm cut out for this. I mean, yes, it's supposed to be automatic that, well, you give birth to a child, so you're a mom. But she's like, oh, there's the responsibility that comes with it. There's a challenge. I hope I'm going to do a good job. I hope I'm going to do better than, for example, my parents did. I really want to do my best. I don't know everything. I don't know everything. And that anxiety creeps in and it makes you question yourself. And maybe you feel a little hard you feel a little harsh towards yourself because you have gotten to a point where you have had to maybe recover from an event. So perhaps maybe your child put their hand in hot water and they started crying, and then you felt like you should have been watching over them, so that should have never happened. You hurt yourself. You hate yourself for that. You punish yourself emotionally, psychologically for that, because I shouldn't have made that mistake. But the time you spend in that low of the mistake, you take away from the opportunity of getting to the meat of the process. So it could be that you've been in a relationship where you waited for so long for either the girl or the guy to come around. It didn't happen. You waited for so long for a particular thing to click. Maybe you felt, if I finish school, if I do this, I do that, it's going to work out the way I expect it to. You know, how can I now change? How can I now change? I've had a high in this field. I've had high highs in this field. How can I now come to a place where I'm going to change? Why will I feel like I have to evolve now? I don't feel like I should. Sometimes holding on to the high highs of certain things can leave you trapped. For example, in toxic relationships, it's very common that you have extremely high highs and extremely low lows. So, for example, this is just one aspect of a romantic relationship. How much more friendships? How much more your relationship with yourself? Where you are in the euphoria of life at one moment because maybe you get a raise at work, maybe you win some money, maybe you hit the ball out of the park for a particular deal or business or venture, or maybe you play really well in football and you score 3 goals, a hat trick. You feel amazing. You feel like Mbappe or something. Maybe not currently Mbappe, but yeah, you get the point. You feel like some kind of Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi. You feel like Stephen Curry shooting the three from outside because you just did something amazing. And then you ride on that high for a while, and then you don't realize that when that high is done, you have to deal with the bases. And unfortunately for you, the bases are not very, very balanced. So you have a very low low after that. You see people who perform really well go on to have the most depressive episodes after, because you're having a manic kind of depression. It comes up and it's up. And when it goes down, no one's around. So I think the most important thing out of this message is, remember to be kind to yourself. Remember to take out time to be kind to yourself. Be generous with that kindness. Not because you feel like you deserve it, but because you do. Because your feelings will fade. And it's a responsibility you have towards yourself. Someone asked me yesterday, I'll say Miss Laremo. It's Leramo actually, but I call it Laremo because it sounds Italian. She asked me, what do I think adulting is? What's one word I'll use? And the first word that jumped to me was survival. The second word was responsibility. The first word that just came to me was survival. Absolutely, just understand that your survival is on you. And in the words of the GTA character, to Franklin, I forgot his name just now. Survival is winning. Survival is winning. Are you surviving? Are you going on? You're winning already? So in the same vein, be kind to yourself. Stay amazing. Stay blessed. It's been the Fizzy Speaks. Peace.